Alright, my fellow sons and daughters of Sigmar, welcome to the showdown between the Empire, who shall be led by Marcus Wolfhart. Today, my friends, he is indeed hunting some elusive prey in the form of Big Mama Morathi, who is going to be riding on Sulafet. Now, as far as my build goes, let's go ahead and take a look. For the Lord, we are going to be going with Marcus. And even though I don't think Marcus is quite as strong as a character like Karl Franz, I do think Marcus, despite some of the nerfs he did get, is still a really good character. He has a net which is incredibly powerful. As you guys know, nets, whether it be nets of Amichok or Pravenoth Rama, those are like game-changing abilities that can really just end a game almost instantly. So he has that, and he does also have two sniping spells, the Focus Shot as well as the Amber Bow. So ideally, if Morathi comes a little bit close, we can get the Focus Shot, we get the Amber Bow, we get the net on her, and from there we follow up with the Pistoliers as well as the two handgunners we do have here in the back. So for our skirmishing, 3 Pistoliers, one group of the grenade launchers, which are really good at clearing out like chaff units like Bleak Swords and Dread Spears, and even extremely effective against Sisters of Slaughter and Witch Elves. So I certainly like having one group of the grenade launchers. It is a bit of work to protect those bad boys because if they're being chased, they go down very quickly. Only 14 melee defense, and they can certainly be punished by something as simple as like Dark Riders. Got to be pretty careful with them. In the front line here, it is going to be Flagellants, Sigmar's Sons, as well as more Flagellants, a couple spears on the flanks, 3 spears in the back, and 2 groups of the handgunners. So normally I'm a little bit kind of hesitant to go with this many missile pieces, having all the Pistoliers and Outriders against a faction like Dark Elves that can swarm with like Dark Riders and all those scary tools. But considering I do have nets on Marcus and some really good sniping tools, I feel like I can hopefully get my value before they're able to kind of collapse on my position. Last but not least, we do also have a Deathcaster. So the Deathcaster here is going to work well with Marcus. Obviously, Marcus is a sniping character, and I feel like going with Lore of Life with him is okay, but you're going to get more value out of using Spirit Leech and Buna and really just taking down those heavy targets and then finishing them off with Marcus. Oh, and I also forgot to mention I do have a couple Empire Knights. So Empire Knights here and here, one of which is going to be teamed up here with Warrior Priest. Warrior Priest, Soulfire Bombardment, very good against lightly armored troops. Hammer of Sigmar, a great ability. I think that Warrior Priests are a staple of many Empire builds. Now for the forces of King of the Dead, let's go ahead and take a look here. He does have Morathi. It looks like a couple groups of Dark Riders, 2 Scourge Runner Chariots, a bunch of Dread Spears, Cold One Knights in the back. So this is a very traditional Dark Elf force. Basically, Cold One Knights. It actually does have Knights of the Ebon Claw, who you don't see terribly often, but nonetheless pretty good against like Demogryph Knights and Empire Knights and Reiksguard and things like that. So certainly a pretty powerful unit. 49, 52, 48. Certainly a mean stat line. So yeah, he's got Dread Spears and Coldland Knights and a couple of Repeater Crossbows and Scourge Runners. That's like very standard competitive Dark Elves. So let's get this show on the road, guys, and see how the battle unfolds. Morathi coming in, a little bit of a risky play here, getting danger close to Marcus. But Marcus does pop her in the face on the approach. But now he's going to be getting hunted, and you can see the no-scope as he does run there. But Morathi does get a little bit of a poke in. But she is pretty close here, so I will be dropping a net. And now the silver bullets and my other handgunners are going to be coming into range. Morathi's going to be taking a ton of damage here. You can see she pulls back up in the sky, 1700 HP. And had she not pulled up in the sky, I don't know how she was moving there. She was actually moving while she was still netted. Very strange thing for sure. But she's down to 1500 HP, certainly in a very bad situation. In the meantime, the Empire Knights, led by the Warrior Priest, are able to push back the Scourge Runner Chariots, but I do overextend a little bit, and King will be getting the countercharge here with the Knights of the Ebon Claw, charging into my very exposed Empire Knights. Marcus, in the meantime, using his Amber Bow and his Focus Shot, is able to push back Morathi, and we do also overcast Spirit Leech, which gives it additional range, and is able to hit Morathi from downtown. But now the mainline fighting will be underway here in a moment, as the Sons of Sigmar are going to be falling back, handgunners, pistoliers, and grenade launchers all pulling back, and my Empire Knights were able to get away without taking too much damage. Granted, the Scourge Runner Chariots are doing some good poke, but Empire Knights are a very cheap unit, very durable for the cost, really. Their combat stats aren't the best, but you're getting 110 armor, and yeah, it's really good. So Pistolier is going to be going back up, trying to poke and force the Dark Elf forces to get in range. Here you can see my handgunners, the Sons of Sigmar from the Imperial Engineering School at Nuln, perhaps, going to be dropping some shots downtown here into the cav units, and you can see the Cold One Knights are going to get forced back pretty quickly. But I do have a lapse in micro, actually, and I overextend with handgunners and chase a little bit, but that's okay. So Morathi did actually live. Currently, the bounce power is very heavily in my favor, but the only reason why that's the case is because Morathi's so beat up. If she's able to stabilize and not die and get her Soul Stealers off over the course of this battle, I think that the Dark Elves could most certainly come back. Grenade launchers going down here in the front, peppering here into the advancing Dread Spears, doing some good damage. Another volley should be able to come in a moment. But regardless, my Spearmen with shields will be ready to kind of intercept those guys. And here comes another grenade launcher volley. Morathi, though, staying very safe, kind of behind the hill. It looks like she did overcast something and maybe hurt herself. No, just a regular Soul Stealer. So she will be healing back up here. And now you can see the Cold One Knights are going for a frontal charge, actually opting to hammer into my Flagellants and my State Troopers. And Morathi is going to be using another Wand of Coridon as I do try and snipe her once again with the silver bullets. But King with a nice little play right here. He's able to get the Dark Riders through the seam. and they do jump on top of my silver bullets, but I have some grenade launchers nearby and some spearmen, so I pull back the handgunners, I send in the grenade launchers and melee with spearmen support, and they should win that fight. Now on the other side, it's pretty much just a monster mash here. You can see that the Dark Riders are being pinned down by some Empire Knights. He has spears and Cold One Riders here, so he should win this fight eventually, but it will of course take some time. Empire Knights, like I said, very, very tanky. Over here, the Warrior Priest, going to be dropping some Soulfire Bombardments as the Sigmar Sons, able to have a very solid victory here against the Hellobroni, the chillest of all the dudes in the realm. And here, the Flagellants pretty much performing well across the board. Flagellant Sigmar Sons, those unbreakable troops, really can bully like Bleak Swords and Dread Spears. And it's really, really common for Dark Elves to go with a lot of Dread Spears, simply because it's a very good tool against like the large cav of the Empire and some of the lords and characters, and they're just very, very durable with high melee defense. And usually Dark Elves win their fights with Scourge Runners, Cold One Knights, Soul Stealers, things like that anyways. So the grenade launchers are going to be peppering into the Dread Spears, Pistoliers just circling about, trying to avoid the Knights of the Ebon Claw, who of course are quite ferocious here on the hunt. I also forgot to mention the Dark Elves do indeed have a Master. The Master is going to be pinned down a little bit here by the Spearmen, should not be doing too much damage. And Morathi's kind of cackling in the sky, but the focus shot is coming! Will this get her? Oh man, she is very, very low here as well. Morathi rocking 323. Marcus Wolfhart, the great huntsman of the Empire. Will he end the witch's reign? Here it comes, heat-seeking shot, and down goes Morathi, down for the count. The huntsman able to complete and fulfill his oath to Karl Franz to hunt down this foul prey. So Morathi has fallen. Handgunners here are going to be getting resecured. And we were able to kind of hold this side. Granted, some Dread Spears were pushing past my grenade launchers. I think I sent them in temporarily to try and keep those Dread Spears from getting onto my silver bullets. But there are also some Knights of the Ebon Claw coming in. But a good Spirit Leech should be able to hurt those guys quite a bit. And on the other side, the Dark Elves do have their Scourge Runners. But for the most part, the Empire Knights and the State Troops are able to win their fights, which is quite a surprise. I actually thought I would lose that flank. But here, Scourge Runners, 3 models, 2 models here. But the Pistoliers and the Handgunners are now in firing position. So they're going to be able to really just pour some heavy Daka into the forces of the Scourge Runners, which are going to be netted down by Marcus Wolfhart. And the Master is coming. He's coming for Marcus. He could potentially do some work against Mr. Wolfhart. But the Hunter's Snare has kept him locked down here for a couple seconds, but he should be getting free in just a moment. Scourge Runner Chariots really, really beat up. Focus fire from the Handgunners, certainly doing some great damage. And the Cold One Knights are being kited out by the Pistolier Horde. And even though Pistoliers don't have the best AP values against 90 armor and shields, it still is a volume of fire thing. And they actually, I think their AP values aren't the worst in the world. And here you can see the Masters coming in, trying to goon out Marcus, but Spirit Leech is going down. Marcus isn't a slouch in combat. He does have pretty good melee combat stats. He just kind of lacks AP. And you can see that is going to be the shattering for the Dark Elf forces. So well played. Well played to King. And he mentioned that he was trying to branch out his factions. He didn't really play much Dark Elves, so just take that with a grain of salt for sure. But as far as the build goes with the Empire, I like that kind of play. I think it's good. I did notice that throughout the game, my micro did lapse quite a bit. The grenade launchers, I just lost control of them a couple times, and my Empire Knights are left in combat for too long. But aside from that, Pistoliers are a really good tool against Dark Elves. If they do go with Scourge Runner Chariots, not Scourge Runners, but Repeater Crossbows, you can chase them down with Pistoliers who have good melee stats and can also shoot them on the run. Whereas Repeater Crossbow cav units, which are very common picks against Empire Heavy cav, cannot shoot while they're running. So you can usually have the advantage in the skirmishing game. And then Empire Knights can bully things like Dark Riders, and they can hold their own against Cold One Knights. They do lose in a vacuum fight, but if they have the support of Warrior Priest with the Hammer of Sigmar, Shield of Faith, they can usually do pretty well. And honestly, I usually use Empire Knights as like a buffering tool when I do play Empire. I'm not really on the aggression with them. I'm more so sitting in my back lines, using them as like a heavy roadblock. Because if you just defend your flanks with spears and things like that, people can push through with high mass units like chariots. But if you have Empire Knights there to kind of hold firm for Sigmar, they can certainly do some good work. Yeah, it's a pretty good build. It's very much a sniping build, using the Amethyst Wizard and Marcus to really kill their casters and kill their characters. But if you can do that, it can work out. And for his build, I think it was good. Honestly, I think just a couple of the engagements were pretty suboptimal, and losing Morathi early on was really brutal. She was kind of forced out of the fight, couldn't really do too much, and honestly, there weren't too many good targets from Morathi here. Maybe the Warrior Priest and the Amethyst Wizard, but yeah, Morathi going down was pretty rough. The Cold One Knights kind of got awkward engagements and took a huge pounding from the Handgunners before the main fighting could start. So there's a couple things that went wrong, but I do think the build overall is still decent. I would probably honestly just cut the Master, and from there you can get like another Dark Rider, another Repeater Crossbow or something like that. He actually didn't bring any Repeater Crossbows. Yeah, I think that would have been good. The Repeater Crossbows are just so damn solid. Like, cut 1 Dread Spear, cut the Master, get 2 Repeater Crossbows, and you'll be in much better shape. They're so good against Empire Heavy Cav. As long as he has good control with his Dark Riders and can chase down my Pistoliers, at least keep them busy, then the Repeater Crossbows can basically just take my Empire Knights out of the picture, as well as my other heavy targets. So again, well played to King. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this Empire vs Dark Elf game. We'll see you guys on the other side. Take care.